Good evening, everyone. I'm Neil Dunnavant, and this is the last of the Wednesday evening Vespers on the sayings of Jesus in the Gospel of John. Next week, Dolly's going to begin a transition for us where we're going to talk about the prophets. And we're going to get into some of the minor prophets that you don't hear very many sermons about, and I want to remind you some of those prophets are Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, and Malachi. So we're looking forward to that. But tonight I'm wrapping it up with the story from John's Gospel in the 4th chapter about Jesus encountering the woman at the well in Samaria, the Samaritan woman, and he asks her for a drink, and she says, "Why would you ask me, a Samaritan woman?" The Jews usually don't ask the Samaritans to draw water for them, and then he speaks metaphorically, Jesus does, and he says, "The water that I will give you will become a spring of water gushing up to eternal life." And she doesn't understand the metaphor, and she says, "Sir, give me this water so that I may never be thirsty or have to keep coming here to draw water." And then this is the part I really wanted to focus on, which really isn't about the living water of Jesus. It's about the issue of truth-telling. And so in verse 16 we begin. Jesus said to her, "Go call your husband and come back." And the woman answered him, "I have no husband." And Jesus said to her, "You are right in saying, 'I have no husband,' for you have had 5 husbands, and the one you have now is not your husband. What you have said is true." The woman said to him, "Sir, I see that you are a prophet." So, while there are so many different sermons one could get from this incredible story in the 4th chapter of the Gospel of John, what I really want to focus on with you for just a few minutes this evening is the importance of telling the truth. It seems so obvious. It's one of those things we talk to our children and grandchildren about. Tell the truth. You know that you can't lie to your mother. Your mother always knows when you're not telling the truth. There's nothing good about it. But maybe we haven't heard a sermon or a homily about this in a while. And so I've gave it some more serious thought, and I want to go through some things with you as to why I think telling the truth is so incredibly important. And the first one is that you will gain trust with people, which is going to help you in a million ways. If people trust you and know that they can always count on you to tell the truth, even if it's not what they want to hear, then that's really good. There's another wonderful saying that love covers a multitude of sins, and that's a great saying, and love does cover a multitude of sins. But also truth-telling, it builds your character, and it helps with your standing with other people. It's a gift to other people that you are somebody who's always going to tell them the truth. The second reason is that it keeps us humble, because we all have truths to tell that aren't flattering to us, that we're ashamed of perhaps or not proud of. And we're going to have to tell the truth at some point about our mistakes, our errors, our poor judgment, whatever it might be. Meanness, our regrets, shame, remorse, all those things. Not that we have to grovel in it or just talk about it all the time, but there are going to be times when the truth, telling the truth, the real truth, is going to involve telling something about yourself that doesn't make yourself look very good. And that keeps one humble. My third reason is it helps others to be truthful and inspires truth-telling. So if you're telling the truth all the time, maybe that's going to help other people to say, I need to quit not telling the truth or the whole truth, or spinning things or making things seem better than they should be. My fourth reason, it does avoid this thing that's so common in our society of spinning things or manipulating the facts, or making things look better than they really are, which only creates suspicion and just a worry about people being deceptive and tricky and all those kind of things that just aren't good. So once again, it's a blessing. You don't have to worry about somebody trying to spin something, trying to make something sound better than it is. Just tell the truth. My fifth one is, hey, the Bible tells us so. One of the 10 Commandments, do not bear false witness. Now, that may have been just in a particular case, but if you think about bearing false witness, telling lies, it really covers everything that needs to be covered. One of my favorite, and it's something that God obviously thought was important. There's so many stories where God calls people out about telling the truth. My personal favorite one is when Abraham and Sarah find out at their very old age that they're going to have a child. And Sarah laughs. And God says, Sarah, didn't you trust me? I told you that I was going to give you the gift of a child. Why did you laugh? And she says, I didn't laugh. And then God says, oh, yes, you did. You laughed. There's something kind of funny about that. But it's once again, it's the narrator telling us that God says, no, Sarah, you laughed. And I saw it. And that's not the truth. Tell us the truth. Number 6, something you may not have thought about. Telling the truth keeps us well. It keeps us healthy. It keeps our planet healthy. A lot of the sickness of our bodies and our world and our environment now is based on the lies that people tell to make money. I mean, that can be a lot of things that I'm interested in about diet, truth-telling about food and what's really good for you and what's really not good for you. There's so much spin about all that going on. I'm still appalled that they're still selling in massive quantities these sugary cereals that yes, I used to eat as a kid. Sugar Smacks, Sugar Pops, Lucky Charms, all those kind of things. They're still out there, and they're nothing but sugar. There's nothing good about them. And they sell them as something healthy for children to eat for breakfast, which is just a pack of lies. Let's admit it. And so, there's just a lot of we talk about truth in advertising. Well, there's a lot of lies in advertising. That's nothing new, and we don't need to be a part of that. And I think if there was just more truth about what's really good for us, what's really good for our planet, what's really good for our families, for our bodies, for our mental health, what's really good for our souls. What's the truth about that? We would be so much better off. And lastly, it's spiritually correct anyway. God knows anyway. You can't hide anything from God. You can't fool God in any way. So you may as well tell the truth, because those who are close to you and love you, they're going to know, and God knows for sure. So my prayer for you, my prayer for me, my prayer for our world is that we tell the truth, we live the truth, and we have the courage to speak the truth in love. Blessings to you all. Good evening.